What's up, YouTube family? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight with another lake breakdown. I'm just kidding. No more lake breakdowns. Actually, I'm still going to do lake breakdowns, but this one's not a lake breakdown. What I wanted to do today was talk to you about or I guess really my experience on prepping for the Victory Bass Tournament that we had on Ray Hubbard, my home lake. Even though I haven't been able to fish it in forever, we had a tournament that was coming out. So we had one day basically to go out and pre-fish it before this tournament. And even though I knew all my spots, I made a critical mistake. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about that, the mistake that I made, and kind of help, hopefully you guys can learn for some of the mistakes that I made. You've heard me talk about it many times before. I am no pro. I'm just basically a average Joe weekend angler that we've had a little bit of success fishing, and we like to just kind of share our successes, and hopefully you guys share them back to us. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's talk about the Victory Fishing Tournament, the pre-fishing, all of that, the mentality. I'll show you guys some video of the fish catches we had out there and our results and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into this. Here we go. So starting off the weekend, we had Saturday and Sunday to fish. Sunday would be the tournament. So Saturday we rolled out. Weather's pretty much calm, no wind hardly at all, very light winds, clear blue skies, very high pressure. So the first place we do is we hit the riprap on 66, and then we pull off to the point here. And then when we get off to the point, that's actually when we catch our first fish. So you'll see Landon catching one there. So the big mistake that I made is that I had in my mind we were going to fish riprap. We are going to be fishing rocks, and I needed to be fishing moving baits. For whatever reason, I was thinking fall, moving baits, rocks. I was thinking, I don't know, I wasn't even thinking about the wind, and I should have been. And so you'll see that throughout the video. You might see me throw in some slow stuff, but I'm throwing moving baits a lot. And I'm just stuck on my pattern. I will not get off of it. And Landon's in the back of the boat, in the front of the boat, all kinds of areas, just putting the hurt on me, catching all kinds of fish while I continue to just be hard-headed and not adjust to the weather conditions. So when you're out there fishing, pay really close attention to the weather conditions. This first day, you'll see this is his first fish. It's very calm. There's not a lot of wind. It's clear blue skies. He's having a lot of success throwing a shaky head and a drop shot. So two things, the drop shot, I don't even like throwing at all. And then of course the shaky head, I like throwing that. So we left 66. Our next place, we just stopped by this little rock outlet that's over there between 66 and I-30. It's got a little shallow riprap, I guess you could say. They had some problems with the camera, but Landon first cast out there, throws out there with a shaky head and catches one. So from there, we didn't have a lot of luck. So we moved there. We went all the way down to the dam. And you'll see down here, we're fishing down around this pipeline. Landon ended up missing one there. I finally, I think, gave up on throwing some slow stuff, was trying some moving baits, crankbaits, Carolina rigs. We tried just about everything and just didn't really have any luck in regards to those little those cages that I've told you guys about that are out there over by the dam. So Landon again did have a bite there, but really no success. So from there, again, I finally started to slow down, but then we move from there and we say, okay, we got to go find some fish. So let's go to Chandler's, kind of a community hole. We're fishing the riprap off the side of Chandler's here. And that's when finally, Landon ends up catching a fish here. And so I think this was like our second or third fish of the day, maybe fourth fish, but it ends up being a pretty small one. So we're still struggling for size out on Hubbard. Have been here for the last couple days. You'll see in the tournament we caught two decent ones, but overall the size has been pretty small. So we're definitely not on the right pattern. We're on a pattern where we're catching fish, but definitely not on the correct pattern. So as we move on here, you're going to see Landon land this little Timmy, and then we'll continue moving on. But really some of the key baits that we were using too while we were out there fishing, shaky head was huge. You can see here on Saturday, it was all about the shaky head. And then the second bait is right here that you'll see, Aaron's Magic Robo Worm, the color called Aaron's Magic. And so apparently that was really, really helping us out a lot. Rest his soul, Aaron, bless him. Really wish we could still have him around, but his color was working well for us. So we moved off of Chandler's, decided, hey, you know what, we're going to go back and we're going to fish these little rock points, these little rock jetties that are outside of 66 down there. While I was over here screwing around with my live scope, trying to get it all figured out, Landon was over here catching fish again. Now you'll notice though, when we get here, you're going to laugh at the reaction because when I turn around, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, man, that thing's huge. What is this thing? It's got to be big. And then, oh, oh man, it's a drum. Oh. So it's just funny looking at our reactions. So, anyways, move over there, come off of that area, go back to 66. I think he actually caught this one on 66, not on those jetties, but moves over there to 66 and don't catch anything there. So we end up moving up and we go up to Sapphire Bay, or what used to be called Bayside. And there's a little spot there where you can see where the contours are pretty sharp. So it's just up there fishing around. I saw some bait fish in that area and ended up catching this one. Now, of course, I'm struggling all day. I told you I was throwing the moving bait when it's slick, calm conditions and never really made the adjustment. So finally, I'm out here. I decide I'm going to throw a jig out here. So I throw a jig out here, and that's the size of fish I catch, like 10 inches. I'm like, really? So struggling that day. So I ended up moving on. So we left Sapphire Bay and said, you know what, let's keep moving around. Let's keep checking these patterns. Our time of day is important too. So sometimes you want to go back and fish the same spot twice if you know it's a good spot. And then sometimes you got to keep moving on. So we ended up moving on. We went up to Rush Creek here. Got into Rush Creek. There's a really good rock jetty that comes out. You'll see it right there. There's also some brush piles and stuff that I talked to you about. That if you're looking at this video right now, it's going to be just north of us, just north behind the boat. There's a pretty decent little pile that's out there, kind of a community hole. But you'll have some success there off that jetty. But unfortunately for us, no luck. So we left Rush Creek and said, all right, let's spin back. Let's go back to Chandler's. As soon as we get back into Chandler's, Landon goes out there, flips a little shaky head out there with the brush hog, pops it a couple times, and then finally ends up getting a fish here. And I think that one actually ended up measured, I believe. So we ended up having a couple keepers for the day. Overall, pretty good numbers, but not very good size. So from there, we spun back. Now we're into tournament day, so we're kind of have some pretty decent spots. We decided we're going to start on 30, that's going to be our best spot. We started there, didn't have any luck, so then we moved over here. Now, if you pay attention, it's pretty windy, right? We got some pretty good current. But me, I'm still stuck on the slow bite. And of course, I catch a fish pretty early in the morning. You can see the sun's not even up yet. And this was the first fish that I caught during the tournament day. And this thing was pretty close to 4 pounds. We didn't weigh it, but our overall weight, we'll talk about it here in a little bit, was just under 9 pounds with 3 fish. So the other fish was very small. In fact, they even had to check them on the scale. So I don't even know if he weighed a pound. So basically we had 2 fish for about 8 pounds and 1 fish for about a pound. And that was this one. So there's one thing that people talk about all the time when they're talking about tournament fishing is that sometimes you catch that one fish and he leads you astray for the rest of the day. Well, when this is your first fish, you get pretty dang excited, right? You're thinking, oh man, if we can keep a 4-pound average, we're going to have a great tournament, especially if we can get a big kicker. So we fished that some more. Didn't have any luck there, so we decided, okay, yesterday, most of our bites, they were coming up off of the riprap on Chandler's. We had a couple other spots, too, that we didn't really talk about, but we checked those spots. Not a lot of luck. So came up here to Chandler's a little bit later in the day, and that's when Landon hooked into the second keeper here. So you'll see here, this guy is not giant at all. We're still excited because anything that we can measure out on Hubbard can be decent. So we ended up getting this one. This one was just a little bit over 14 inches, but he definitely was a keeper. So we ended up keeping him. And then we just continue to move on, right? We continue to move on and continue to fish all those spots that we just talked about. Again, we had a couple other spots we were checking, a couple brush piles and things like that, but just weren't having a lot of success. We went over to Sapphire Bay and tried that. Didn't have any luck there. There was actually really pressure there too. There were a lot of people fishing. In fact, every spot that we wanted to go fish, there was always somebody in our spots. So it was a little bit of a tough day for that. The tournament wasn't very big, so I don't know what was going on unless everybody just knows about all these spots and we just continue to fish community spots. But it's clear that we need to pull off and find some things that maybe aren't so community. But the other thing that's really clear is that you'll see here, this is like, midday now, right? The sun's fairly high. It's probably 11, 12 o'clock in this video. And I have yet to pick up a moving bait. So finally, about 1:45, the tournament was over at 2:30, about 1:30, we say, you know what, the heck with this. We don't have anything right now. We basically have 5 pounds between the 2 fish. So we roll over to 66. and ended up fishing around those pilings. And we busted out an A rig, and it wasn't maybe within 5 or 10 minutes. Landon hooks into his first one. It's a small one, a non keeper. And then maybe 10 minutes later, he hooks into a really nice one, probably a 4 pounder easy. It was a little bit bigger than mine. Unfortunately, our video, we were having problems this weekend, so we couldn't get that one recorded. But he did catch that one, and you'll see it here in the picture. So overall, just did a really great job, as far as finding the fish, but not adjusting to the weather conditions. So if there's anything that you can learn in this video, maybe hopefully you guys learn, hey, the shaky heads are good. A-rigs under I-30 are awesome. And not just I-30, but 66, any bridge that you can find. Those bridges that are back there in the Rowlett Creek area as well can be good as well. So fish around those bridges with A-rigs. If it's windy, I think you're going to have a lot of success. But make sure that you're always paying attention to those weather conditions. When I look back at this video, I think, man, did we miss the boat? We went and tried those A-rigs on I-30 on Saturday and didn't have hardly any luck at all. In fact, I don't even know if we caught a fish. We may have caught one fish, but it was slick calm. If we would have paid attention to the wind on Saturday and noticed that current was really, that wind was creating current between those bridges, then we would have immediately knowing that, hey, we need to go over here, we need to have A-rigs, we would have been paying more attention to go over those bridges. So the main thing here is just learn the lesson there. Make sure that you're paying attention to the weather conditions. The wind is huge and it changes every single day, and you got to pay attention to it. We made the mistake of going out. Actually, I made the mistake of going out and pre-fishing based on basically the cover and the structure that I was fishing, and not paying attention enough to basically the weather conditions. So anyways, guys, I hope this helps you a ton. Until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Take care.